here once again doing another tier list, this time for Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. And as you can see, there's a lot of characters. These are all the characters that had at least one duel in the series. We have Double S, which is the best duelist the world has ever seen. So this is just like ultimate duelist. You have to be on their level to even compete in this kind of tier. We have S, which is the greatest duelists of all time. People look up to them. They're like, wow, they were really good. Then we have the A tier, which is a top tier duelists. They're fantastic. We have above average duelists in B. In C, we have average duelists. In D, we have bad duelists. And in TC, we have trash can duelists. Seasons in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. From episode 0 to 52 is season 1. That encompasses Jaden getting into Duel Academy, all the way up to the Sacred Beasts. Season 2 is when Asta appears, the Sartorius thing happens, ends with the Light of Destruction being defeated, Sartorius being defeated, and we got the Gen X tournament in the middle. Season 3 is the debut of like Jesse Anderson and everything, and it ends with Yugioh versus Jaden. So this is everything that happens before they go to the different dimension, then everything that happens in the different dimension, ending with the Yugioh Jaden duel. Season 4, a lot of people don't know because it was never dubbed, but that encompasses episodes 157 to 180, and this is everything that happens after the final season. Jaden dueling against the Darkness. We got a lot of Truman duels, and we finally got the duel against Jaden versus Yugi. Let's get started. So season 1, Jaden. Jaden makes his appearance. He defeats Crowler, who is a teacher, so that's meant to be a really big thing. Following on in the series, he beats Chaz, one of the best Obelisk Blue students, allegedly. He does very well. He duels against Zane Truesdale, who is one of the best duelists in the school, and loses. So Jaden isn't actually OP at this point in the series. He's at a point where he can be humbled every now and then. In fact, Jaden plays against a dual spirit known as Kyberman, which is like a dual spirit version of Kyber, basically. And he actually loses against the Blue Eyes deck there. So, I mean, he beats Kagimaru, who has all 3 of the Sacred Beasts. So that's quite an impressive feat to do as well. I mean, he's a good duelist, I think, in the first season, but I think he definitely has some, like, growing to do. And obviously, this season ends with the graduation match, where he gets a rematch against Zane, and they both end in a draw. So I'm happy with A with Jaden here. I don't think he's at the top of A. I think he'd honestly probably be a bit further down. Like, we'll see how things go, but Season 1, Jaden, there you go. Next, we move into Season 2, Jaden. So, Season 1 Jaden is just the Elemental Hero deck. Season 2 Jaden is where he has to start incorporating the Neospatians. Now, Jaden goes through a loss against Asta Phoenix, and he basically is, well, he's non-existent as a duelist for a little while. But then he gets his Neospatians, he's able to defeat Asta Phoenix, who, Asta Phoenix, keep in mind, is one of the rising stars in the Pro League. We'll talk about the Pro League a little bit later. But something that you need to keep in mind with the Neospatians is one of the weaknesses of Jaden's deck is his reliance on spell cards, specifically polymerization. With the Neospatians, I know he has Neospace. However, with the Neospatian contact fusing, he doesn't need polymerization anymore, so he can fuse in a different kind of way. So I do think he's better here. His greatest defeat in this season is he ends up beating Asta Phoenix, and he also does defeat Sartorius at the end of the series. And Sartorius has the power of the Light of Destruction. And the Light of Destruction really amplifies the powers of people that use it, like against Chaz, against Alexis. They sort of get a prediction ability similar to Sartorius. So I do think Jaden has really stepped up his game here. But I don't know, has he become one of the greatest duelists of all time here? I don't know. Has he gone there yet? I think I'm going to have to see where I start putting other people, where I can sort of judge the power level of others. But I mean, in terms of his dueling here, I think it's really good. Season 3 is where all the stuff starts to happen. Jaden goes to the different dimension. He's dueling well, but then his friends all start dying. He sort of goes through a bit of a like depression kind of thing. And then he loses all of his friends, and then he snaps. He gets consumed by the Gentle Darkness, and the Supreme King takes over for a little while. Supreme King is a separate character. We'll do him a little bit later. But Jaden ends up conquering that power and basically has it for himself. And one of Jaden's biggest wins in this season is, of course, to Yugioh. Now, it's weird to say he beats Yugioh because the duel kind of just ends. In fact, I did a video on this. Yugioh activates super polymerization, and then Jaden just changes the targets of the super polymerization, meaning that instead of Yugioh uniting all the dimensions, he unites himself with Yugioh. So the duel doesn't really end, but I mean, Yugioh could have just fused monsters together, so I guess Yugioh would have beat him. So it's hard to say if Jaden really won that duel, but I mean, he did, technically. He technically did win, if you want to really call it out there. But I think at this point in the season, Jaden has really solidified himself as, like, a great duelist. He's one of the best. He's probably the top of S tier here, no doubt about it. For the final season, Jaden Season 4, this is Jaden where he's merged with Yugioh. He basically has that duality eyes thing, so he can sense dual monster spirits. He also has a companion now who he can confer to and talk to and stuff. And his deck hasn't changed too much, really, but he feels very strong in this final season. In fact, he's so strong and he's taking duels so seriously throughout this last season, because that's kind of his arc. Like, Jaden's happy-go-lucky at the start, and then as the seasons go on, so much crap happens that he sort of loses his way in terms of dueling for fun. And Jaden is just slapping people left, right, and center, and even defeats the embodiment of all of darkness itself. So it's very impressive. I think Jaden has reached his peak at Season 4 here, and I think that's quite an easy one to say. He beats a duelist called Truman, who managed to get, I'm pretty sure, 2 5-headed dragons out in the field, 2 5k monsters. I know it's got no, like, real effects, but I think that's quite impressive. So, and to keep on line with that as well, Jaden duels in a tag team tournament thing with Alexis, and Alexis basically does a play, and he's like, okay, I've put some cards here that Jaden can use to help win the duel against these 2 opponents. And then Jaden just ignores all that and just plays with the cards he has, ignoring the teammate, and just wins anyway. So he's very strong. He's very, very strong. So I think for the main character, this is the kind of journey he goes on. Sorry, I think, yes. Jaden Season 1 is somewhere around here. Jaden Season 2 is definitely in the top of a top-tier duelist. Season 3 Jaden, he's matured into an S-tier duelist, and then the final season Jaden is in SS. We also have Bonds Beyond Time Jaden, which it's set after Season 4, because he recognizes Yugi, right? And then it's actually kind of hard. Where is Bonds Beyond Time set in terms of the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX series? Jaden's deck in Bonds Beyond Time's kind of weird. He plays a decent Elemental Hero Neo's fusion card, but all the characters are kind of weirdly nerfed. He's probably better than he was in Season 4. I do like this Jaden the most. They're on par, I'd say. I just personally prefer this one. Because he's got, like, Yugioh in his deck. He can summon, like, Neos Wise Man. Even though Yugioh's a weird card to have in his deck. Very weird. Okay, next up we have our Dutra agonist, kind of, Cyrus Truesdale. I think Cyrus is not a great duelist to start off. C is average. I mean, I don't even think he's an average when he starts the series. Do I feel bad putting him in? See, the problem with Cyrus is he's a character that he does go through a progression throughout the series. He starts in red, gets into yellow, ends up in blue. Eventually becomes a pro duelist, surpasses Zane. We'll talk about that a bit later. But I hate his deck so much. Which is weird because I used to like the concept of the Roid cards, but they're just not good. Cyrus doesn't have limiter removal at this point. Not limiter removal, sorry. Power bond, because he doesn't think he's a good enough duelist. So I'm going to say he is a bad duelist to start. He's got some really low feats. He beats Dimitri when Dimitri's copying Crowler's deck. And I think it's in the season. He beats a girl called Missy, who is meant to be one of the best Obelisk Blue students. That might have been in Season 2, though. I think that is Season 2, actually. I think he's just bad. I'm sorry, he's bad at this point in the series, but I think he gets better. When he's in Raw Yellow, he's taking on Zane, but he still can't beat Zane in a duel. That's his big duel in Season 2. During the Gen X tournament, Zane rocks up in his his evil persona. Cyrus tries to duel against him. He hasn't really, like, improved his deck at all, but he's put in Power Bond at this point. I think he's just... he's an above-average duelist here. He's gotten better, but that's kind of the best that he has. Like, he helps Jaden against the Paradox Brothers, but doesn't... He's just not confident. He's trying to gain confidence here. He's got better, but that's as good as I can give him, personally. So, looking at Season 3, Cyrus only has one duel, and he's against some dual ghouls, and he's with Chaz, Cyrus, Crowler, and Bonaparte. I don't think he's made any progression at this point, personally. He just has that one duel, and that's, you know, kind of it. So, I think that's fine, just leaving him there. Maybe he's got a little bit better, but he drew that duel as well. I don't think they even won. Then we get Season 4 Cyrus. Now, this could be a weird one. Cyrus basically absorbs Zane's deck. He gets a Cyber Dragon, Cyber Dark, Roid deck, which I hate those three archetypes being together, but it's one of those things. So he duels against a character called Makoto, and Makoto plays a Jinzo deck, and Makoto beat Chancellor Shepard, but Zane also beat Chancellor Shepard. Is he a low A? I mean, Cyrus is said to go on to be like a pro duelist, and him and his brother are meant to be like companions. And I guess people look forward to dueling against Cyrus when they're all about to graduate and leave Duel Academy. So I guess he's probably got into A. Maybe he's had like a huge jump in power here. It seems weird to think of him as a... I guess he's a top tier duelist here. I don't think he's that great though. I just don't like his deck very much. But he's somewhere down here. I don't think he's... Is he better than Season 1, Jaden? I don't know about that. We'll see. Chaz Princeton, Majume Funda. People love this character. So when he gets introduced, he's like a Kaiba sort of clone in a way, because he's just obsessed with powerful cards. He gets humbled. I think he's an above average duelist, but he's not that great. This is literally how I see Season 1 Jaden and Season 1 Chaz. I actually think that is a correct look at their like power levels. I think that's fine. I think at the start he plays like a Chiffonian deck, right? And then like his attempts to beat Jaden, he plays like fusion stealing cards. But then I guess we get to the end of Season 1. What's he playing? They go to the graduation. Chaz in Season 1 does not have a great record. Duels against Jaden gets interrupted, but we know he's going to lose. Duels against Jaden again, loses. Duels against Bastion, loses. Gets kicked out of Duel Academy because he's done so badly. But then he goes to North Academy. He beats all the North Academy students that are there, and he beats their #1 duelist, which is Kazar. I think this is like a continuity error, but they say that Jesse Anderson was prior the #1 duelist at North Academy, so Kazar is technically supposed to be on his level. It's 100% not true in any way, but he beats a guy called Kazar. I don't know how much you care about that, but... And then he comes back, and then all the schools are dueling against each other, loses against Jaden again. But he does get his moment. He plays against his brother Slade. He plays with a deck with monsters less than 500 attack or something, and manages to win that duel. So that's pretty impressive. But then he plays Don Zalug, who's got one of the, not Millennium items, one of the Shadow Charms, and beats Don Zalug quite well, to be honest with you. He loses against Amnael, and then he loses against Alexis Rhodes to sort of round out the season. With his Ojama deck, does he move up into B? I think he's just a C here. I really do. I don't think his feats have really accomplished anything. The Slade duel against his brother was very impressive, but I just can't do any higher than that. I'm so sorry. Chaz Princeton Season 2. Chaz gets a good boost in his deck. So he's got the Armed Dragon cards, the VWXYZ cards. He starts using them all together. But then he gets corrupted by the Light of Destruction, and he gets a significant power boost. So, if you remember before when I talked about the Seal of Orichalcos, how that boosted people like My Valentine, made them stronger, the Light of Destruction really boosted Chaz, because Chaz had sort of like an omnipresent, not omnipresent, like a clairvoyance thing, where he's dueling against Alexis before she's corrupted by the light. And she's got cards that like, okay, when Chaz activates his Armed Dragon's effect, it'll destroy that card and it'll ruin his day. But then Chaz is like, I don't upgrade my Armed Dragon and activate its effect because I know what you've got face down because of the Light of Destruction ability given to me. So, I mean, it's full-on cheating if you really want to think about it, because he was doing plays that you would only do if you knew what your opponent had. He also got 2 cards which were meant to symbolize him being like a top-ranked Light of Destruction duelist. It was Light Veil or White Veil or something. There's another card which makes him reveal his entire hand, but he gets to deal burn damage or something. And then obviously he gets uncorrupted and he does quite well. So, I mean, he loses to Sartorius, so he can't be higher than Sartorius during Season 2. But he beats a couple characters. He does beat Alexis Rhodes. He beats a dude called Lorenzo, Princess Road. He beats Bob Banter, okay. Finally wins against Bastion Masawa. I think Bastion froze in that duel, though. I'll have to check that. Loses to Jaden, though. Does beat Blair Flanagan. Okay, so that's how he rounds off the season. So he ends up beating Blair in the one of the final episodes of Season 2. So I'm okay with him there. I think that's fine. He's a top-tier duelist. What's B again? He's above-average duelist. Season 3 for Chaz is not good. Looking at his stats, duels against Adrian Gecko, gets defeated easily. Duels against Jaden, gets defeated yet again. Duels against the Duel Ghouls, and ends in a draw. Chaz actually has no wins during Season 3. So I'm just going to keep... I'm saying he's made no progression here, and he's in the same place. However, Season 4 Chaz, he does actually become a professional duelist. He duels against Asta Phoenix, with Asta Phoenix having a full-powered Destiny Hero deck. Asta brings out Plasma. I think he brings out Dogma, but he brings out Destiny and Dragoon. And still manages to win with his Ojama deck, which is quite impressive. I'm going to say Chaz is up here now. So, who's better, Cyrus or Chaz at the end of the series? I'm going to say here. I think probably Season 1 Jaden has been surpassed by end of series Chaz and Cyrus. If those 2 characters dueled Season 1 Jaden with his Elemental Hero deck and everything, they probably would have won. But I still think they would have struggled against Season 2 Jaden. So I'm kind of happy with that there. I'm going to say Chaz is stronger. He shows more... Oh, he does. He loses to Truman in his very last duel, so... Yeah. That's fine with me. Alexis Rhodes. The Jewel of Duel Academy also, or the Madonna of Duel Academy. So, weird fun fact about Duel Academy. Every single female student automatically gets to go into Obelisk Blue because they don't have enough facilities to accommodate them in Slifer Red and Ra Yellow. So they get automatically put in Obelisk Blue. This will become important later when I talk about Alexis's 2 friends. They're kind of just there because they're there. The only exception to this is Blair. Blair, for some reason, has an Obelisk Red, a Slifer Red uniform, so I don't know. But I do think Alexis is a good duelist. She plays a very good deck as well. She plays Cyber Angels. But I think Season 1 Alexis, she gets beat by Season 1 Jaden. Is she top tier at this point? I mean, she's one of the best duelists in her year, I think. Season 1 Alexis gets to have a win against Pierre the Gambler, loses against Jaden, beats Titan, loses against Amniel, and loses, but beats Chaz. So, better than Chaz, worse than Jaden, worse than Amniel. She could be here, but I think that's fine for her there. She's better than Chaz, so she's here. Then we get Season 2 Alexis. Actually, this is a weird one, actually, because... Yeah, Season 1... Okay, that's right. So, Season 1 Chaz lost to Season 1 Alexis. Season 1 Alexis lost to Light of Destruction Chaz. So, I think that's fine. But then Alexis gets the Light of Destruction, and I think she is up here. In fact, I actually think she's a top tier duelist here because her Machine Angel deck is very strong. She plays a duel against one of the pro duelists called Maitre D, and she does such a good combo, and she doesn't even rely on the Light of Destruction stuff. She just relies on her own deck to prove that the Obelisk Blue girls are, like, pretty pog. So I'm going to say she's a low a top tier duelist here. So I'm kind of happy with that. Yeah, she beats Maitre D. Maitre D is like the number 10 or something ranked pro duelist in the entire world. So I'm happy with that. Season 3, Alexis. This is Alexis in the alternate dimension. Yet again, characters really suffer in Season 3. If you're not a main character, you don't get to shine very much. So I'm just going to say she made no progression here because she has 2 duels. They're both draws, and they're most likely against dual ghouls. More or less. They're against dual ghoul-like people. So I'm going to keep her right here. Alexis Season 4. The school says she's like one of the best duelists on par with Jaden kind of thing because they do that tag duel and they get paired together and they're like, good luck beating them. I would say Alexis is top tier. I don't know if she's improved so much. Who does she even duel in the final season? So 157 onwards. Chancellor Shepard and Miss Dorothy, they beat. Blair Flanagan and Tyrone Hasbury, they beat. That's with Jaden. And then she loses to Truman. I think A is fine. I don't think Alexis even pursues a career in becoming a professional duelist. She ends up becoming a teacher kind of thing. So I'm happy for her to end at A tier. Season 4 Alexis could give Jaden a run for his money, sure. I'm kind of okay with that. Yeah, I'm kind of okay with that. That's fine with me. After this, we get a very neglected character, Bastion Masawa. Bastion is the most analytical duelist. He's a raw yellow student who is the only person to sort of strategize against decks. Okay, I'm playing against Jaden. I'm going to put in cards that ruin polymerization decks. Yeah, I'm just going to play anti-polymerization cards and stuff. So I quite like Bastion. I actually think he's quite a good duelist. How good is he? He's definitely above average. Yeah, Bastion beats Chaz very easily, and Bastion's actually the reason why Chaz gets kicked out of school, because he can't even beat a raw yellow student kind of thing. So I think that's pretty fine with me. I think he would lose against Alexis Season 1. I think Light of Destruction... This is a good point. Light of Destruction Chaz does beat Season 2 Bastion. But I think he loses on purpose. This is something I wanted to check. So yeah, it turns out that when Bastion dueled against Light of Destruction Chaz, Bastion attempts to activate his face-down magic cylinder, which would win in the duel, but Sartorius mentally convinces him that he must intentionally lose if he truly wants to join the Society of Light. Oh, he was manipulated into a loss. So Season 2 Bastion was gonna be amplified Chaz. That's quite surprising. But he ends up losing. So I guess that's kind of fine then. If that's on paper, I guess that's true. Season 1, Bastion defeats the Examiner, Prep School Duelists, Chaz Princeton, loses against Jaden, loses against Tanya. This is Season 1. In fairness to Bastion as well, he beats 35 Gen X Tournament Duelists off screen, which is mentioned. And then for the final season of Bastion, he doesn't duel. So we'll just put in there, he hasn't made any progression. He's just absolutely fine like that. So that's fine with me. Okay, now this is where I get to real favoritism. Zane Truesdale, my favorite character in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX of all time. So where would I put Zane Truesdale? Where's Season 1 Jaden? Season 1 Jaden at the end draws against Zane. I would say at the start, he's like miles better. Jaden seems weird in A tier now. God, it's hard to review these characters. Zane Truesdale. Drew against Jaden. Would he draw against Season 2 Jaden? After Season 2 Jaden beat Asta Phoenix? I guess not, no. That's mad. That's crazy. That's crazy, insane. Would Season 1 Zane beat Chaz? I guess he wouldn't. Would Season 4 Cyrus? I guess he wouldn't as well. That seems mad. You gotta remember, these have got very, very good at the end of the series, and Zane gets a lot better by the end of the series that I'm going to show you in a second, so I think that's fine. I don't know. That's crazy. Wait. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I'm going to try and stop second guessing myself. Okay, we've got Season 2 Zane. So Zane ends the series as the best duelist in Duel Academy. He's the greatest of all time. Clear. Gets into the Pro League, plays against Asta Phoenix, gets handled, gets disgraced, goes on a massive losing streak, gets kicked out the Pro League. That's how bad he does. So Zane goes to, like, probably down here. But then he gets, he goes to Underworld Dueling, Underground Dueling, wins with Chimeritic Overdragon, starts to embrace the I don't care anymore, just duel and just crush everyone. Gains the Cyber Dark cards, which I'm not personally a huge fan of. I prefer the Cyber Dragon stuff. But in terms of the anime, it does amplify him. At the cost of him slowly dying by using the cards, because he doesn't respect them. But I think he's become an A-tier duelist's top of A-tier. Yeah, who's he beating, Zane, in Season 2? He beats Atticus Rhodes quite easily, actually. So Zane's win streak starts with Mad Dog. He beats Mad Dog, Minor League Duelists, 9 pro duelists in a row, Pro League Duelist. He beats Chancellor Shepard, Atticus Rhodes with Night Shroud. He beats Cyrus, some Oldest Blue students. He doesn't get a result against Jesse Anderson, so we never get to find that out. Beat some people. I'm happy with that. I think Zane's top tier duelist here. Season 3 Zane. Now, this is peak Zane Truesdale for me. This is Zane in the alternate world. He doesn't get very many duels. He beats Jaden when Jaden is down, but he beats him, technically. He beats every single, like, enemy that comes in his way, and he beats them very easily. And he duels against the main antagonist of the series, Yubel Jesse. I think Zane has transcended into a S-tier character here. He doesn't beat Yubel, but he goes out on his own terms, and he's so awesome, and he gets out some awesome monsters, and he's my favorite character. So he's going in S-tier. I don't care. He has become one of the greatest duelists of all time here. S-tier character for sure. Was he better than Season 3 Jaden? No. But he's up there. He's probably going to be right next to Jaden at the top. Season 4 Zane. Zane dies. And then he comes back in Season 4. He is very ill after this. And in fact, he is unable to duel with the Cyber Dark deck anymore because it just debilitates him so much. We don't really get to see Zane shine in Season 4, to be honest with you. In fact, he doesn't really have any duels. He attempts to duel against the Jinzo user, but collapses, and then Cyrus has to take over. So, I'm going to say Zane has regressed a little bit here. In fact, I should be completely fair. I mean, he's doing fine in the duel. I'd need to do a duel analysis to see if he was going to win that duel. If it was literally just... Was his heart gave out, but he still had the ability to duel, or not. But... I'm just going to say he's a low top tier duelist here because I'd need to see more. I think they do say that Zane and Cyrus go on to become like a dueling brother thing in the Pro Leagues, but that isn't shown on screen. So I'm just going to leave him there for now. Keep in mind, it breaks my heart to regress him all the way down to here. But if I saw more from him, I'd put him higher. But I can't do that. But Season 3 Zane was a showcase of his potential, and moving forward, maybe he got even better. Who knows? Professor Crowler uses an Ancient Gear deck, which is not great in the real world, but it's quite strong in the anime. Season 1 doesn't do a lot. Loses to Jaden in, like, the first thing that happens. It's weird. Season 1 Cyrus beat a Ancient Gear deck, but it wasn't used by Crowler. So I'm going to say Season 1 Crowler is probably better than Bastion. I think Alexis would have beat... No, actually. I feel like Bastion would beat Crowler. With his time to prep kind of thing. I think Season 1 Crowler's there. He gets a big boost in power towards the end of the series, but I think there's fine. He doesn't really grow his deck too much for most of it. Like, Season 2 Crowler, what can we be proud of him for there for? I think Crowler's season 1 accolade. Oh no, he loses. He loses to the Shadow Riders. He's fine there. Season 2 Crowler, I think, got a little bit better. No, season 2 Crowler. Who's season 2 Crowler playing? He's playing against Maximilian Pegasus, and that's about it, really. I guess he held his own for a little bit in a tag duel. He can go there. That's fine. Season 3 Crowler. I don't think Crowler duels very much in Season 3 again. So we'll just leave him not much progression there. Some of these characters didn't need a Season 3. Season 3 was weird for characters a lot of the time. Season 4 Crowler, we get the big duel. We get the graduation Crowler versus Jaden once again. Crowler's playing like Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem and stuff at this point in the series. And he does quite well. I think Crowler... Final season Crowler is quite good, but he still gets easily handled by Jaden. I think that's fine. I think Crowler proved himself in that final duel, but it's just not that good. He doesn't show enough wins for me to get him any higher than like an above average duelist here. Blair Flanagan. Blair Flanagan's weird. She's obsessed with Zane. And I think, who does she beat? Blair in Season 1, she beats the Duel Academy Examiner and wins, but then plays against Jaden and then loses. She plays like a love deck in the first one because she's obsessed with Zane. She can just be a... I mean, she beats an Examiner? It's just an Examiner, right? I don't think she's beating all these. Would Blair be Cyrus? I feel bad putting Cyrus here. Put him in bad if Blair's going to be here as well. Cyrus is in D because of his confidence. He gets that later, so I think that's fine. I'm going to put Blair as a low average duelist. Blair Season 2, she comes back with a vengeance. She starts beating Gen X Tournament Duelist. I'm pretty sure she gets to the finals, and then it's Chaz versus Blair. So Season 2 Blair can't be better than Season 2 Chaz. Where are you, Season 2 Chaz? There you are. Is Blair beating Alexis? Probably not. Would she beat Bastion Season 1, though? I mean, maybe. Ooh, I'm putting it that much higher than Crowler. Generous. I'm fine with that. Blair did alright in Season 2. I mean, she's, like, doing good. But then when we get to Season 3, she has an off-school duel with Marcel. She duels with Jasmine. Oh, that... Okay, yeah. Blair is non-existent in Season 3. We see nothing of her yet again, so she can just go there. Blair Season 4, I think she's improved a little bit. I don't know if she's that good. I don't even know if she should beat that. I'm kind of alright with that there. That seems weird. Blair just gets slight upgrades kind of thing. Big boost here. Little boost here. Tiny boost here. I'm alright with that. Yeah, that's fine with me. I'm going to stick with that. Next up, we have Lyman Banner. Professor Banner, who is revealed to be a character called Amniel. Plays like a primordial deck. It's kind of cool, actually. And he gives a very powerful card to Jaden to help him against the Sacred Beasts. Now, Banner defeats very, very easily Chaz Season 1 and Alexis Season 1. And I think Banner is... definitely a top-tier duelist. He's taking on Jaden in Season 1. But he does lose to Jaden in the end. I think Banner's up here. I think he's a top-tier duelist. I think he beat Alexis Season 3 and 2. Oh, maybe. I think Jaden's done well here. Ultimately does lose, but he goes on a pretty nutty streak for a while. Chancellor Shepard, Seasons 2 and 4. Season 2 Shepard, he plays against Zane Truesdale and loses. Season 1 Zane. No, Season 2 Zane, sorry. It's said he's quite good Shepard, because he's sort of like he's the one who taught Zane. I think Zane would beat Crowler and Bastion. And I think he'd struggle up here. I think Shepard's fine there. Shepard Season 4, he plays against Makoto, the guy, the Jinzo duelist, and he gets easily clapped. And then he duels alongside the woman who sells the cards at Duel Academy, and he does a really good first turn. Then she kind of lets him down, and he sort of simps. I don't think he progresses much. I think he kind of just stays there. Chumley is an absolute awful duelist. Terrible. He plays a big koala, like Des Koala kind of deck thing. But he misplays so much. In his duel against his dad, he literally summons a flip effect monster face up, and he's like, oh, whoops, I didn't know I was supposed to do that. He gets beat by his dad, and then he ends up leaving Duel Academy to pursue card design instead. So I think he's just somebody that was interested in duel monsters, but he felt he needed to be a duelist, but when in reality he wanted to be a card designer. So it's fine that Chumley wasn't a good duelist because he didn't pursue that career instead. And then he ended up making a really not great card for Jaden. He makes, what? Hero City 2, and then Jaden's like, oh yeah, I'll treasure this forever, Chumley. Thank you so much. I think he only uses it in one duel. Whoops. Oh yeah, Dorothy. Dorothy's even worse than Chumley. So Dorothy does the same thing. She only duels in the final season of Yu-Gi-Oh! She normal summons a Marshmallow in attack mode. Forgets that she's allowed to attack with her teammates' monsters and just ends her turn. And then Jaden just, like, dunks on her. So she's a bad duelist. I'm sorry, Dorothy. Unlucky. Bonaparte Season 2 and 3. This is another one where I don't know why I put 2. We could have just put this as 1 because nobody duels, really, in Season 3. Bonaparte loses to Crowler Season 2. Done. And then Crowler and Bonaparte both lose to Pegasus. So, there you go. That was an easy one. He plays like some weird toy deck, like a toy soldier deck. Aster Phoenix Season 2 is when he makes his appearance. So Aster appears and absolutely claps Jaden Season 2 and Zane start of Season 2 kind of thing. But then Jaden gets better. He gets the Neospatians, comes back, beats Jaden. Aster duels against Sartorius, loses. What would have happened if Aster Phoenix Season 2 dueled against Zane Season 2? That would have been a really interesting duel. So Aster is in the Pro League, and he's a rising star. The Pro League is like where all the professional duelists go. It's really weird. But he's not the top or anything. His stepdad's the one who's like the #1 reigning champ. And he's sort of just like on an undefeated win streak. So, I think Season 2, Aster's fine there. Jaden ended up beating him, so it's fine. I mean, to keep in mind as well, Aster beats his stepdad, who is a 10-year reigning pro duelist, with the ultimate D card as well. So that is a very impressive feat. I still think Alexis has, like, Aster needs to grow a bit more at that time, so it's fine. Next up, we have Season 3 Aster. Season 3 Aster, did you do many duels? He plays against Industrial Illusion Tournament Duelists. He plays against Goblin Attack Force, Skilled White and Dark Magician, but then loses to Adrian Gecko when Adrian Gecko's got Exodia. I think he's up here. Is Season 3... He's losing to Adrian Gecko. Would Zane have lost to Adrian Gecko? I wonder. I mean, Adrian Gecko gets... You gotta look at it this way. Adrian Gecko with Exodia gets bodied by Ubel Jesse. Ubel Jesse beats Season 3 Zane, but it was such a struggle. Aster loses to Adrian Gecko, technically. So I guess that's fine there. I think that's fine. I'm okay with that. I think Aster is a very good duelist. I don't think he was better than Zane at that point there. Season 4, Aster doesn't get to shine very much. In fact, he gets one duel in Season 4, which is against Chaz Princeton. Chaz Princeton, he loses to. And then Chaz becomes like a super professional pro duelist. So technically, Aster can't go above Season 4 Chaz. So now this creates a huge problem. How can Season 4 Chaz be there if Aster Season 4's there, if Aster Season 3 is there? My goodness. I guess we have to do something like this, don't we? I have to leave it like that. Chaz has technically become better than Asta Phoenix at the end of the series. Asta does say he's going to come back and duel him properly in the Pro League. So Asta could jump up, so that's fine. We'll commit to that. Tyranno Hasselbury. I'm not a huge fan of Hasselbury, but he does do some interesting duels. So in Season 2, I think would beat Bonaparte and Crowler. And Season 1 Bastion. And Season 2 Blair. These two end up becoming teammates in the tag duel at the end of the series. Hasselbury beats 14 Gen X tournament duelists. He beats a Royale student. He loses to Alice. He loses to Frost and Thunder with Cyrus. He loses to Sartorius. He loses to Cyrus Truesdale. He does throw against Cyrus. Well, he was going to draw against Cyrus because it was like a duel to determine who was Cyrus, Jaden's best friend. And he could have ended the duel in a draw, but he ends up purposely losing. I don't think Season 2 Hasselbury is that good, you know. I've changed my mind. I think he's down here. I don't rate Hasselbury. You win some off-screen duels. I'll put him here. No. You're fine there. That's fine. That's fine with me. I'm alright with that. Oh, he loses to Jim Crocodile Cook, so he can't bet than him. Draws. And then in the final season, he loses to Truman. I think that's absolutely fine where he is. He's just an above-average duelist. I don't think he ever really proves himself too well. He's got a cool ability, though. So Jesse Anderson, who debuts in Season 3, he makes quite the appearance. He duels against Season 3 Jaden. So Jaden over here. So when Jesse appears, his deck isn't great. I know he's got the Crystal Beast deck, but he doesn't have Rainbow Dragons. So, I mean, I can't put him any higher than, like, an above-average duelist. But by the end of Season 3, he's got his Rainbow Dragon, and he's going on par with Yubel and things like that. So I think the full-powered Jesse Anderson in Season 3 is definitely an A-tier duelist. I think so. Is he beating Zane Season 2? I'm gonna say no. I don't think so. And Asta Phoenix Season 4, Jesse Season 3. And it's fine for me. Then we get Season 4 Jesse. Jesse doesn't get to do much in Season 4. Again, God, side characters suffer in this series. It's hard to say. We don't get much, like, matchup to really figure this out. His deck doesn't grow very much as well. He kind of just sticks with the same deck. I'd say Jesse's good, though. I'm like, he's like on par with Jaden in terms of dueling ability, so that's fine with me. He's a top-tier duelist. Next up, we have Adrian Gecko, Season 3. So Adrian plays a Cloudian deck at the start, beats Chaz. Where are you, Chaz? Chaz Princeton Season 3. So, and he beats Chaz quite easily as well. So he's definitely a top-tier duelist. Then he gets his hands on the Exodia cards, and he beats Asta Phoenix Season 3. But then he ultimately loses to Yubel. So I think Adrian's fine there. We saw him surpass Asta with his Exodia deck. His Exodia Incarnate deck? I forget what it's called. Exodia... whatever that one is. Jim Crocodile Cook. Jim actually catches quite a few W's. Beats South Academy students, beats Hasselbury, Dual Ghouls, more Dual Ghouls. He beats the Anger Mask. Draws in the Chaz Princeton so-and-so duel. Draws. Battle Footballer wins with Axel Brody. Beats Kozaki. Loses ultimately to the Supreme King. I mean... he's one of the 4... So, Jim, Jesse, Axel, and Adrian are like the 4 best duelists from each of the different schools. North, South, East, and West. So I guess he's up there, really, with Adrian. Adrian and Asta. Season 3 Jesse versus Season 3 Jim. Who was better? He's got a good deck as well. That Fossil deck's kind of cool. Has some strong abilities. I'll let that slide. That's fine with me there. Axel Brody. Now, he is actually a league above these guys. Axel was the only one to get a draw against the Supreme King. And he has a lot of wins throughout the series. He's only... Okay, this is Season 3 before I talk about Season 4. So Season 3, Axel... I think I'm going to say he's fine there. He's better than Adrian. He's one of the top duelists at the school that he hails from. And then we get Season 4, Axel. His most notable duel is he plays against Truman, who takes on the form of his dad. And then he does lose to him. I guess I can't really change him any higher. I think this is where he deserves to be there. I think that's fine with him. Top tier duelist. Good stuff, good stuff. Kagimaru. Okay, this is one of our first big villains of the series. This is the big bad of Season 1. This is the Season 1 final villain. Not the most memorable in terms of design and stuff, but kind of cool. He wielded all 3 of the sacred beasts. He was able to summon all 3 to the field. He ended up losing to Jaden in the end. So, I think in terms of him as a duelist, he's fine as a duelist. He's okay. I think in terms of his deck power as well, adding on with all 3 sacred beasts in terms of the anime, he probably was a top tier... I think he's more of an A tier duelist. He's not that memorable. I think he's losing to Chaz and Jesse. I think he's losing to Asta. I think he's losing to Axel. Is he beating Season 2 Zane is the question. I feel bad for Season 4 Alexis, quite low. Season 1 Jaden beat Kagimaru. Jaden did have to have like an extra card that was given to him by Professor Banner, I guess. It's a weird one. I think Kagimaru has a very strong deck. I don't know. We'll put him there. I think Kagimaru there. Camula with a vampire deck. Her vampire deck is not great. She was supposed to lose to Zane, but Zane had to throw to save his brother. She has to cheat to get wins. She has to, like, force the opponent to either kill their friend or win the duel. So I think Camula's not great. I think she's just, like, an above... I think she's kind of average, actually. Her deck's not great either. She's playing some vampire cards that have been power crept to oblivion. It's fine with me. Who does she beat? She beats Crowler, though. Season 1 Crowler. We'll put it here. I don't think she's great. I mean, like, if you factor in her, like, cheating to get wins and stuff, maybe. Abydos is a trash duelist. Abydos is, like, one of the people that come with the shadow charms. He gets brought back to life. He realizes halfway through the duel, he's like, why aren't I winning as easily as I normally do? It's because everyone used to just let him win because he was a pharaoh. So he has to actually, like, learn on the fly while he's dueling. And his Sarcophagus deck is not great. In fact, I'm pretty sure the Sarcophagus cards are one of the most difficult monsters to summon out. So I actually think he's really bad. He's better than Dorothy. I think he'd probably beat Chumley. Would he beat Chumley at all? Nah, I don't think he would. He's bad. He's a bad duelist. Tanya beat Bastion twice. Season 1 Bastion. I think Tanya would beat Camula. I think Tanya's decent, actually. I think Tanya can go there. She's an above-average duelist. She's quite good. I mean, she's fine. Don Saluk, I don't rate that much. I was watching his duel earlier today to refresh myself on a lot of these duels. And he plays a full Dark Scorpion deck, which requires so much setup. They have some decent cards. There was one card that forced the opponent to, like, wipe the field, lose a card in hand, put a card on the field on the top of the deck, then mill 2 cards or something, which was kind of strong. But I think he's fine there. I don't think you deserve any higher. Titan, little bit of shenanigans with him, but he did end up losing to both Jaden and Season 1 Alexis. Yes. So, Titan, you can go here. He plays an Archfiend deck. It's not great. Atticus. Atticus Season 2. He's corrupted by the Darkness, Night Shroud. He plays a Red Eyes deck, specifically a Red Eyes Darkness deck. And he is part of a trio of some of the greatest duelists. Zane, Atticus, and a dude called Fujiwara, sorry. So Where's season 2 Zane? Is he... Zane claps him quite handedly, really. So I think Atticus is there. Atticus would beat season 1 Zane, but not season 2 Zane. And then we get Atticus season 4, where he dons the darkness again. In order to conquer it or something. I think he duels against Fujiwara. Atticus loses a lot. Loses to Alexis, loses to Jaden, loses to Zane, loses to Jaden again. Various duels not shown, and loses to Fujiwara. I'm kind of happy with him there. Yeah, I'm going to say he doesn't make so much progress. He's meant to be one of the best duelists. Red Eyes Darkness Dragon's kind of cool. Okay, we got another villain. So this is the Season 2 final villain, Sartorius. Controls the Light of Destruction to its fullest power, has the ability to manipulate fate and make his cards go right side up, and is voiced in the sub by none other than Yugioh from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I think this is our first low S, because Sartorius... You know what? I'm gonna do a little change here. I want to boost some characters. Imagine if you left the video here. I think these deserve S. I'm starting to think that A is getting a little bit crowded, and like there is a definite distinction between these two. So, it's fine with me. Why is Jaden there? Why have I just suddenly put that there? Because that makes more sense. I don't think there's a whole level between these two, but I think Sartorius was a very good duelist, and obviously he was better than Jaden in terms of like on paper, but Jaden still managed to triumph through the power of his Neospace and everything. Okay, we've made some retcons. I'm sorry, but it's really tough to rank characters. So yeah, Sartorius does beat Astus Phoenix in season 2 as well, so there's definitely a difference between them two. Sartorius plays Jaden in the final season and loses, so let's just say Sartorius gets a little bit worse, because Light of Destruction isn't amplifying him anymore. He can drop down to A. In fact, he can drop down quite a lot in A. I don't think he's beaten Kagamaru. In fact, I'm going to say Light of Destruction was a very big reason why he was doing well. There you go. Sartorius Season 4. Why nuts? Then we get Frost and Thunder. They're tagged all duelists together. They were fine. They were just fine. They were nothing special. Then we get Serena. Serena duels against two very powerful duelists. She duels against Asta Phoenix and Jaden at the same time in Season 2. And she holds her own really well. I'd say she's there. She's the sister of Sartorius. I think that's as high as I can give her. Now we got a couple weird characters to go through. First one, we have Princess Rose. She played a frog deck because she's a princess and she likes to kiss the frogs or something. A Des frog. She plays a Des frog deck, which is kind of cool, but she wasn't a good duelist. It's very gimmicky. There's a lot of gimmicky characters in this series. I think she's fine as just an average duelist. I think she'd beat Blair. There you go. Why not? Then we have Howard X Miller. He dueled against Jaden and lost, but he beat some Pro League duelists. What did he play? Howard runs a mill deck. Deck out strategy. Monster register. Okay, he plays a mill deck. Let's say he's better than Princess Rhodes. Sure, why not? Then we got Lorenzo. Oh, God. Lorenzo. I don't remember who this guy is. Oh, my God. Lorenzo. So, Lorenzo plays a Bez deck. He's in the Society of Light. He duels against Jaden and gets clapped. Is it even a long duel? It's 8 turns. You can go there, Lorenzo. Well done. We get the Alien of Light. Obviously, a little fodder character. You can go there. We get T-Bone. The problem with Yu-Gi-Oh! Is they've got such a big roster, but there's a lot of unmemorable characters because they just don't do enough. T-Bone lost to an Examiner, and he lost to Jaden. He plays a rock deck. He has Mind Golem in there. If you're losing to Examiners, you're not a very good duelist. Bob Banter. So Bob Banter has a really gimmicky deck where you ask You have to answer questions, basically, and do, like, riddles and things, which is not great. It's probably a bad duelist, right? I'm going to put T-Bone there. No, it's not great. His deck's too gimmicky. It's ridiculous. We have Blaze next. So, Blaze, what the hell did you play? So, Blaze was an assassin who escaped Serena's lair with T-Bone. He and T-Bone had them... Okay, that's interesting. Blaze and T-Bone both applied for Duel Academy and both failed. Gutted. You can both go into D. I don't need to know any more than that. What did you play out of interest, Blaze? Oh, Blaze didn't even duel. He dueled the examiner and just lost. That's even worse. There you go. You two are... At least, yo, Cyrus got in. In fact, yeah. Embarrassing. If you can't even get into Duel Academy, that's ridiculous. Oh, hold on. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. Prince Ojin. He played a satellite deck, which was kind of cool. And then he got corrupted by the Light of Destruction. Got a bit of a boost. Was decent. I think he lost to, like, Tyranno, I think. I remember, like, them flying into space. Beats Pro League duelists. Loses to Sartorius. Loses to Jaden. Oh, he lost to Jaden, was it? And he lost to Sartorius. He's meant to be, like, pretty decent, though. He's a professional duelist, celebrity, and member of the royal family. Okay, so he's a pro duelist. Yeah, that's fine with me. Ooh, here we go. Yugioh, the final villain of Season 3. Now, I'm unsure with this one. Who was better, Yugioh or Season 3 Jaden? Jaden technically didn't beat Yugioh. He fused their souls together to end the duel. But then again, maybe he was trying to get the duel into that position because he knew that's what Yugioh would most want. It's an interesting dilemma. I'm going to put that. Yugioh beat Zane. In fact, specifically, Yugioh Jesse, who we have right here, beat Zane. Why would base Yugioh be better than Yugioh Jesse, though? Why have I put them in separate characters? Because with Yugioh Jesse plays the Crystal Beasts. I mean, they play a lot of different decks. I don't know. It's hard to say. I thought Yugioh Marcel was probably the weakest one. Yugioh Marcel. Probably here. It's weird to have these two as separate characters because they are the same character, but they have different decks while they're dueling. I guess that does affect it a little bit. So, I mean, Yugioh beat Zane. That's absolutely fine with me. Yugioh took Jesse's body, so I guess that's all fine then. I'm okay with that. Absolutely fine with me. Next up, we have regular Marcel, who I don't think played any on-screen duels. It was just, like, stated, like, oh, I beat Marcel in the past because she's friends with Blair. I think Marcel's a bad duelist. Because if you're losing to Blair, I guess you're not great. Viper. Viper is kind of a final antagonist of Season 3. He's like the halfway point. Viper plays a Venom deck, and in his Venom deck, I mean, he's got the arm. So technically, this could be Viper Yugioh, but not really. He has Venomanaga, the deity of poisonous snakes. He has a decent strategy. If Venomanaga deals damage 3 times, he gets an auto win. I think Viper was good, but I think Viper is definitely like a mini-boss kind of thing compared to Yugioh. I think Viper is losing to all these people, personally. Viper versus Kagemaru would be an interesting one. Mr. Stein. Mr. Stein, Mr. Stein. You were... Okay, so Mr. Stein was a professional duelist who was really good, but he was also training to be like a professor, and he couldn't hack doing both at the same time. So when he went to play against the #1 rated pro duelist, which was the D, Asta's stepfather, he was so tired because he was studying all night that he ended up collapsing. And yeah, I mean, he got so good that he was able to challenge the #1 duelist, so he must be okay. But I'm just gonna put him as an above average duelist. He's better than Don Zalug, sure. There you go. He beat Bonaparte. He beat Crowler, sure. Bastion, sure. Camula. I think we're starting to get stuck there. Trapper. Trapper, who are you again? He was a ruthless dual spirit hunter hired by Felonious Viper to duel Jesse Anderson. Dueled against some kid called Tom in a flashback, which we'll find out later, and he beat him. Beat some kid called Tom, well done, but lost to Jesse. You can go. Where is Season 2 Jesse? You can go here. In fact, you can go here. I don't rate you, Trapper. I'm sorry. Okay, we've got Anger Mask, Laughter Mask, and Emotionless Mask. These three dueled during the Supreme King arc and everything. They're kind of creepy. They were interesting duelists. Like they were like students turned into these sort of things. You can all go low here. Why not? I forget which one was the best of them. I don't know who put up the most fights. Probably Anger, right? Probably the best. I refuse to go back and watch their episode just to find out which one was the best one. There's so many characters still. Tom. Tom was the guy that lost against Trapper. If he's losing against Trapper, who is here, that would make you a trash can duelist, Tom. Would Tom versus Dorothy, who would win? I actually think Tom would win. Tom versus T-Bone and Blaze. I think he'd struggle against that. Whoa, Supreme King. So Supreme King is very good. Now, it's weird. Supreme King was undefeated in his time as the Supreme King. Played an evil hero deck. It's technically Jaden, possessed by the Gentle Darkness. And the Supreme King. I mean, Supreme King beat Axel, beat Jim. Would Supreme King have beat Zane if these two would have faced, is my question. I think he would have. Or I think Zane would have been able to... Another character that could have got the draw, maybe. It'd be weird to think Supreme King is better than Jaden. That seems weird. I don't think he would be. I think that's fine. I think Supreme King would beat Yubel, Jesse, but not final season. The final duel Yubel. And she's using her true deck. Okay, now we get all the weird alternate dimension duelists. We've got White and Dark Magician, who I think duel against... Okay, this is going to be an easy one. So all of them are trash in the sense that they're all just average, regular duelists. I think they're better than these. I think they're... Zer could be one of the better ones. Okay, Kozaki... Probably there. Now, the only one that's different, I think, is Bron. Bron's the one that I think was quite good. Ruined a lot of people's days. I think Bron was okay. Bron was the one that, like, sort of forced Jaden to awaken the Gentle Darkness. So he had to be good in order to do that. Like, he was pushing me against the wall, so... And then he sort of made Jaden evolve even higher. Okay, we've got some final season characters here. We've got 3 of them. We've got Truman. Truman is the embodiment of darkness. And if you have some darkness in your heart, like this guy here, Daigo. Daigo was the best second-year Obelisk Blue student. And before Jaden finishes school, he asks him for a duel. And Daigo plays a Horus deck, which stops your opponent from using spell cards, which he specifically does so that Jaden can't use Polymerization. He then uses Royal Decree, so Jaden can't use trap cards as well. And then ends up still losing. He looks at his deck afterwards. He's like, oh, I really thought I'd win this this deck. You're awful. And then because of that darkness, Truman appears, becomes like Daigo, and then replaces him. So, interestingly, we might as well just do Daigo now. Daigo lost against Season 4 Jaden, but backed him into a corner quite well. I'd say Daigo is probably better than Season 1 Zane, but probably would struggle up the lines here. Would Daigo beat Season 1 Jaden? Yeah, you know what? Daigo would beat Season 1 Jaden. Jaden, Season 1, relied on elemental heroes, thus requiring spell cards. And the only reason that Daigo lost is because Jaden makes a point of saying, my deck has evolved since we started school here. And he has the Neospatians. And that's how he gets over the spell loss. So, okay, that's kind of cool. That's cool that I can put Daigo in A tier above Zayn. I'm going to put him above Zayn, actually. That seems a bit much. In fact, Zayn down here. We've already talked about why Zayn's here. Actually, would Daigo beat Bronn? That's insane. Bronn's beaten Season 1, Jaden. Yeah. Alexis is beating Season 1, Jaden as well, actually. Yeah. I'm just gonna put Zayn below Season 2. There you go. We've done some changes. Next up we have, we was talking about Truman. So Truman just takes on the embodiment of people. So like he gets like one duel where he has like double 5-headed dragon. And then I think he makes it like he's got 10k attack. He becomes Axel's dad and beats Axel. So that's interesting. Truman beats Season 4 Axel. That's really good. In fact, I'm pretty sure Truman beats a lot of people. So Truman loses to Jaden 3 times, beats Daigo, beats Obelisk Blue students, beats Axel, beats Obelisk Blue students, beats Tyrone Hasselbury, beats Cyrus, beats more students, beats Mindy, beats Jasmine, beats Alexis Rhodes, beats Chaz Princeton. Interesting. Kind of happy with that then. Yeah, I guess Truman's that good. S-tier character. Very strong. He had to grow. Like at the start, he's not very good, but he gets stronger, doesn't he? Fujiwara plays a Clear World deck. I really like this deck, but I think there's only so high I can put him. I think it's good. He's very strong. He beats Duel Academy students. He beats Atticus Rhodes. He beats... There's like a 3-way duel where it's Jesse, Jaden, and Fujiwara. And Fujiwara manages to defeat Jesse Anderson Season 4. But he makes them sort of like fight against each other a little bit as well. I don't think he's an S tier character here. I think he's a very good duelist. I'd feel weird putting him up here. That's fine. I like his Clear World deck though. I'd love if that archetype got more support in the real world. The Darkness is very good. I think that's fine. So the Darkness is extremely strong. Plays a 0 and Infinity deck. Can do a variety of different things. It takes the combined might of Yubel and Jaden together to defeat him. It's the final antagonist of the entire series. It's the final villain of Season 4. Villain, anyway. I think he's an S-tier character. Ultimately ends up losing to Jaden, thanks to Neos Wiseman, I think. It's quite good. Jasmine and Mindy, we made a point earlier of mentioning that Obelisk Blue girls get Obelisk Blue because there's not enough facilities. And Jasmine and Mindy are the reason... sort of why we know that, because they're not great duelists. They lose a lot. They were unable to defeat Maitre D, who, to be fair, is like one of the top 10 duelists in the Pro League. But one of them isn't able to defeat the Wheeler Monkey, I don't think. So I think they're just average. I think they're better than Bob Banter. So Jasmine and Mindy, there you go. Sata. Sata is the raw yellow, like, professor leader kind of thing. He duels against Tyrone Hasselbury because all the yellow students just hang out in Slifer Red, and he makes all this effort to make Ra Yellow nice that he wants to get them back. But he's not a great duel. He plays like a spice deck. It's all like food. It should be like the Cook Pals or that new Hungry Burger archetype, but it's not. It's kind of like sort of like that. Sata, that's fine with me. Tayu and Baizu. These two characters I don't think are actually named officially in the series. They're Chaz's lackeys in the first season. He's like, hey, Chaz! When Chaz gets into the Society of Light, the White Dawn, these are the first two people he duels, and he absolutely blasts them. They are in Obelisk Blue, which means they're meant to be elite duelists, so... Actually, I don't think they've beaten Cyrus. In fact, what am I doing? They can go down here. Bottom of C, that's fine with me. They'd beat Season 1 Blair, why not? Tori. So Tori is... he's like president of the Occult Club and gets possessed by Jinzo. And then Jinzo duels through him. in order to duel against Jaden. And he does decently until Jaden turns it around and wins. Sure, why not? I can... It's alright. It was fine. It wasn't anything special. Harrington, this is the tennis dude, right? This is just a gimmick duel. Plays a tennis deck. This you can put this as something. Tennis duelist, Elvis Presley duelist, wine duelist, tune duelist. They all have like some sort of gimmick. He'd beat Jasmine, sure. That's fine with me. Damon. Damon is a surprise, really good character, which is shocked me to my core because he's the guy that ran off into the forest and masters the art of the perfect draw. He basically gets Destiny Draw just by practicing drawing so much in like a fountain. And because of that, he almost beats Season 1 Jaden. And then you'd think I'd leave him there, but then Damon comes back during Season 2, and he is used by the professors to duel against professional duelists. And he duels against the mathematician guy. We might as well grab him now. Mathematica. There he is. Mathematica. Where is he again? He's actually a really good duelist. Hold on. So Mathematica here is the 10th best pro duelist. And he loses to Damon. I mean, that's insane, right? Damon, you can go in B, actually. I don't want to put you in A tier. Mathematica is meant to be really good. He plays a math deck. It's not Mathmex. They weren't out yet. He basically plays like a level Floodgate. I just can't imagine Mathematica beating all these things. Hold on. Let's move some of these up, actually. There we go. That feels nicer. Next up, we have Bria, Beauregard, and the Duel Giant. So these come as a package. So Bria is completely lacking in confidence, even more so than Cyrus in the first season. So he is a bad duelist. Beauregard is a terrible duelist. I don't know how he got into Raw Yellow, but he's huge, so he's brimming with confidence. But he's also not a great duelist. But obviously Bria is very clever. So when the two combine, Beauregard duels with all the jackets on top of him, and Bria feeds him plays through his earpiece. You get together, I think, a decent duelist. Bottom of B tier. Why not? Actually, no, wait. There. Yeah, they go up a level. Why not? Dimitri, the copycat duelist. Copycats other people's decks. The first net decker of the series. Let's get him at his peak where he's playing with Yugi's deck. He's got Yugi's deck. He's very good. I think he's an A-tier duelist. He's not great, obviously, because Dimitri needs to find his own style. He'll never be a great duelist, I don't think. Oh, man. Put him in top tier, though. Even with Yugi's deck. I'm kind of aware. I'm going to leave him in B. I'm going to leave him with above average. He's an above average duelist. He's not great. His deck was what really made him, though. And he played with a few different ones. I'm going to leave him B. I don't think he gets into the bottom of top tier. I really don't. I'd hate to think that. Next up, we have Uchimura. Who is Uchimura? Uchimura dueled against Chaz Priston and lost with two other duelists. There you go. Uchimura, I guess. Ishiki. Who is Ishiki? Okay, we've got some pretty weird characters here. Ishiki duels against... Oh, okay. So Ishiki is one of the duelists that duel with that dude there, Uchimura. So, that's fine with me. Just loses a lot. Loses to duel ghouls. You're not a great duelist. Bolowski's weird. Bolowski has a special ability where he makes people fall asleep while he's dueling with them. Bolowski duels against one of the best duelists in the Pro League. Where are you? The Elroy Prescott. Elroy Prescott was the 9th best duelists in the Pro League. I think, well, let's get Bolowski Season 1 out the way with first. Season 1 Bolowski with his Moki Moki deck is fine. With his ability to make your opponent fall asleep and just kind of give up on the duel. I think he's just okay. I think he'd do all right though. He was like there in the Gen X tournament to beat some people, so there. I think Belowski there. Belowski season 2 when he appears. I actually think he's not too bad. I think he is here. And then Elroy Prescott is here. Yuck. There we go. So who was technically better? Elroy. Okay, Mathematica was 10th. Elroy was 9th. Might as well put Maitre D there now. Maitre D was 9th best, so he can go there. And then Maitre D lost to Alexis Rhodes. That's fine with me. Gerard. This is the guy that, like, breaks into Duel Academy to get, like, dirt on it. Fun fact, he was shown in the flashback to have dueled against Seto Kaiba. We don't really get to see him duel. We just see he loses against Seto Kaiba. Did he have to work hard to get there? He used to love dueling, but then he hates it now. So I think he's there. He's a bad duelist because he just sort of fell out of it. Reginald is the duel Chaz plays to get back into Duel Academy. And he beats him. I think Reginald is just an average duelist. He's like a mini Chaz, I think they describe him as. That's fine. Fondafontaine, the Obelisk Blue Girls president, or whatever it's called, the teacher. She plays like a reverse burn deck. She's kind of cool. I quite like her. She beats some dual ghouls, to be fair. She beats some dual ghouls, but then becomes one, and then duels against Jaden, and then slowly sort of ruins his day, but then ultimately ends up losing. I like Fonda. Fonda can go there. Missy is a girl who was obsessed with Zane. There seems to be a lot of that going around. And then loses to Cyrus during Season 2. So all I'm going to do is just find where Cyrus is, Season 2, and just go boop, boop, boop. There, that'll do me. So the thing about Missy is she was described to be one of the best. It's a quote from Alexis. She's like, oh, she's one of the best girls duelists. So she must be quite good, I guess. We've got some weird, more dimensional. We've got Rock Spirit, Goblin Force, and Sky Scout. Oh, God. I can't bother. I really can't bother with the dual spirits. They're just fodder. You know they're fodder. Done. You can do the research into them. I refuse to. Orlando was another one of the top duelists. He was... What place was Orlando in? Okay, so Orlando was a pro duelist. He was hired for the Gen X tournament to get some wins in. So I'm going to put him above Mr. Stein. I think that's fine with me. Franz was the guy who worked for Industrial Illusions, and he kept making cards that were like too focused on power. Basically, he was trying to make power creep cards, and they all laughed at him, which is funny because in the real world now it was all power creep cards. So he ends up stealing the Winged Dragon of Ra replica from Industrial Illusions, and he also created a card called Mound of the Bound, which seals Egyptian gods, basically, and he uses that to duel against Jaden. He also plays some Ra support, like Ra's Disciple. That's not too bad. He wasn't a bad duelist, I don't think. I think Franz was pretty good, sort of. Bottom of A. I mean, with the Winged Dragon of Ra at your helm, he was doing some hefty damage. Would Franz with Ra versus Banner and Jaden Season 1. He ends up losing to Jaden in the end, but I think that's fine. We'll leave him there. Gelgo is another professional duelist. Done. Para and Dox versus Jaden and Cyrus. That was a fun duel. They were fine. I'd say they'd probably be classed as professional duelists as well. Done. Para and Dox. Kyberman. Kyberman beats Jaden. Kyberman beats Jaden, disappears, never appears again. Was it all a dream? Who knows? Where's Season 1 Jaden? I'm happy with that. Kyber Man better than Season 1 Jaden, like, confirmed. I like Kyber Man, though. Pegasus in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. He's got no Millennium Eye. Beats... He wins quite easily. I think he's pretty high up there, Pegasus. I'd say Pegasus would beat Damon and Dimitri, yeah. Seto Kaiba appeared in just one episode for just a brief moment. We don't get to establish much about Kaiba, but we know where Kaiba is. We probably should put him in S tier, shouldn't we? Oh god, I wish I never put him in there now. I have to decide if he's better than... What season is this? This is Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. So, is this before or after Dark Side of Dimensions? I'm going to put him here. Would Kaiba be able to handle the darkness? Would Kaiba be able to handle Yubel Jaden? This is before Dark Side of Dimensions. Dark Side of Dimensions where I think Kaiba got double S. I'm just gonna do something really cheeky here. There. There you go. Done. Well, let's not get into any controversy. We'll just say Kaiba's a double S. It's an S character. If it's Dark Side of Dimensions Kaiba, he's up there with the double S's. If it's this Kaiba, I'm going to say Jaden would give him a run for his money. Keep in mind, Kaiba isn't a main character. So I'm curious to see what would... Like, the main character. I'm curious to see what happened when those two dueled. We'll just walk away from that. Okay, this is a weird one. I don't know why I put Yugi Present, because Yugi Present doesn't duel. So we've got Jacked Yugi and Yugi in the past that has a Tem. So no Atem with Atem. A more mature Yugi with no Atem. Would he be better than past Yugi? I mean, Yugi Present sends Jaden in the past to specifically duel against his past self, because that's what will get him his fun back. So I actually don't know if past Yugi is better than present Yugi. Now, all I know is that Yugi is constantly told throughout the series being one of the best duelists of all time ever. The king of duelists. They push that hard, and he has one of the best decks ever made. And he beats Jaden. Yeah. Where would I put Yugi Present? We didn't see enough of him. I'm going to put Yugi Present there, only because I don't know. Did Yugi Present send Jaden in the past because Yugi Past was better? Or did he send it because that was how he could play against Pharaoh Atem? I'll leave that there. That's one that's up in the air. Oh, Gorisuke. So this kid here, there was a flashback where Cyrus was a kid and he played Power Bond. And this kid had, like, negate attack face down. And then Zane walks in before he can declare his attack. And he's like, you didn't see anything. Pays off the kid to just forget the duel. I guess he's fine. He was gonna beat someone with Power Bond. This one was bad. We didn't see enough of him. Mr. Huffington wasn't that bad. He dueled against Thingy. Go down here. Next up, we have Slade, who lost against a deck that only had monsters with less than 500 attack points in. Bro, you're not a good duelist. I'm so sorry. Not great. Wheeler, the dueling monkey, who had, like, Berserk Gorilla and everything. He was all right for a impressive simian duelist. You can go to the bottom of... He's an average duelist. It's fine. Kazar was the champion of North Academy, and then Chaz beats him. There. Which is weird. There's definitely a retcon somewhere where they're like, oh, Jesse Anderson is the champion of North Academy, but so is this dude, and then Chaz is? What? Doesn't make any sense. Foster was the leader. I don't know why I put him in here. He doesn't even duel. He just sort of, like, goes there. He's there. No, he's there. It's fine. The Admiral with his water deck is fine. Pierre the Gambler I'm losing interest very quickly. Mad Dog was kind of cool. I hated his voice so much. With his slime deck. To be fair, he went on a massive win streak in the underground. So he probably was a decent duelist. And he pushed Zane into a very, very scary corner. I think he's bottom of A. There you go, Mad Dog. Alice, the dueling doll. She's not beating a Shadow Rider, no way. Dr. Eisenstein plays his relativity deck. Probably beat Wheeler in it all. Grimly had an interesting thing where he had like a Reaper tattoo, which could make sure he... So Grimly's problem was he could never seem to top deck. He always seemed to draw cards he didn't need, and he complained about that. He's kind of a bad duelist, if I'm honest with you. Everyone's like making fun of him. They're like, listen, you gotta build your deck to revolve around like cards you draw. Like, it's nice that you have one card that's perfect, but you're like not gonna draw it. The D. So the D was the #1 ranked pro duelist for 10 years in a row. I imagine being that means you're a very good duelist. I'm gonna put him at the bottom of S. He's like the mini boss of season 2. So before Sartorius, they had to defeat the D, and Asta managed to do it. So keep in mind that the D beat someone called the Collector, who is here, who played like quite a strong deck, to be honest with you. We'll put the Collector. The Collector is a really good combo if you watch what he does, because like he manages to challenge him. I think that's fine. Whether I put season 3, I've put him here. 10 years. I mean, he loses to season 2. I'm going to put D there. Can't put him in the S then. I think the D can go there. He lost to Asta season 2 in the end, so I think that's fine. Osamu is Jaden's childhood friend who he beats Jaden as a little tiny kid, and then Jaden was like, oh, I wanted to summon my Yubel, and then Yubel like attacked Osamu, I think. So I guess he's decent enough. There you go, you're just average. Makoto, Jinzo duelists might have been able to beat season 4 Zane. Where is my season 4 Zane? Where are you, Zane? There. I'll put Makoto there. Which seems weird, but okay, that's fine. Makoto wasn't better than Cyrus. Okay, that'll do me. That is my Yu-Gi-Oh! GX tier list. This was a very, very long video. The problem with Yu-Gi-Oh! GX is there's so many characters, and a lot of the characters aren't that memorable. Some of them are. Like, I remember Alice a little bit. I remember some of these duelists, but like Geldo, Orlando, White and Dark Magician. I mean, I think they play Zane. There's like some of them just like, I just don't remember. But they're in a school, they're playing against a lot of people, so I think that's fine. I think a lot of these positions could be debated. It's hard to put them in their categories, but I'm just going to end it there. That is my tier list. If you would like to take on this tier list as well, I'll leave a link in the description and as a pinned comment, and you can submit it to me on Twitter or something like that if you think you can make a better one. So, yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. Sorry it was a long one. Catch you later.